Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how I went about painting this plague surgeon for the death guard. This model is really cool. So I've painted mine up in the 30k colour scheme just to match my army, but obviously you can paint it however you like. But if you like what I'm doing with this model, obviously follow along. So let's get our paints, brushes and let's get cracking. So the model's obviously been built and sprayed, so I've just sprayed it with a cheap automotive grey primer. Basically just a light primer you want on this for this colour scheme. And then what we're doing is we're going over with Rakarth Flesh. So this is just the base to the armour basically, because it is going to get darkened up and then lightened up as well. So yeah, just get that into all the places where that armour is shown. So I'm just using a army painter dry brush, just a large brush really, just to get that paint into all the grooves. So once that's done, we're now going to wash it. So we're going with Agrax Earthshade. You can go with maybe Reikland Fresh Shade, but for me, I want them recesses quite dark because then obviously we're going to lighten the armour back up again. And I just want them recesses just to stand out quite a lot. So yeah, so just wash all the, you can wash a full model if you want to really. Don't have to be precise about this, but all we're doing is washing the armour. And this is what it looks like. So once the wash is all dried, we're going to go back with Rakarth Flesh and we're going to just dry brush. Basically, we're just wanting to catch the edges of the model, leaving obviously the shade in the recesses. So let's go around the model. You don't have to be too neat about this step because again, we're going to add lighter dry brushing. So we've done the first dry brush with Rakarth Flesh and the second dry brush is just going to be with Shabti Bone. And we're just going to focus this along the edges of the hands, the elbows, feet and that backpack just to get a nice highlight on the model. Having said that, if you want to add more, go ahead and go lighter. But what I suggest is make sure this armour is how you want it before you move on to any other stage of the model. Once you've got the armour down, it's pretty much 95% of the model done. So I'm doing the 30k colour scheme just because I like it. So what we're doing is painting the insides of the shoulder pads with Lorien Forest. Now this colour is fastly becoming my favourite green to paint with. It just goes on so well, coverage is nice, and the colour is just, in my opinion, class. Absolutely class. So yeah, just paint the shoulder pads and then the other part really that you want to be green. So we're coming up to paint the robes now, and I've seen loads with white robes, but I think that might be lost on this model. So what I'm doing is painting this with Screamer Pink. I can't stress this enough though, just be careful with this because obviously if you get it on the armour, it will be an absolute headache to rectify. Can be done, but it'll just take ages. So yeah, Screamer Pink all over the robes. So he's got his like hood and stuff like that. So just take your time and paint all that Screamer Pink. So next up, what we're doing is painting all the brass trim. So we've got some Balthazar gold here, it's quite a nice rich gold, and we're just going round, taking care not to get it on the green. Again, if you do, it's not a problem, but just take your time. So shoulder pads, we've got wrist guards, we've got little ball things that are on his backpack, you know, and little trinkets that are around the model. Just base coat these with Balthazar gold. So next up, what we're going to do is the silver parts. So I've chose iron hand steel again to do my silver on here because we are going to re-wash it and then make it darker anyway. So I think to go for a dark silver colour already, it'd just be pointless in my opinion. So yeah, so just iron hand steel everywhere that you want to be a metal colour. So we've got like a speaker at the top there. We've got some pipes and there's weapons and stuff like that. So just base coat that with iron hand steel. So what I'm doing now is just going back around the model with some Shabty bone, just trying to pick out the little edges of his feet, ankles, fingers, wrists, anywhere where there's a little prominent edge that I want a highlight on. Obviously we've just done a dry brush to highlight it, but this just makes it stand out a little bit more. So I've noticed that there's not much skin on this model, so what we're going to do is just base coat some of the pipes that looks like it's like skin maybe, and we're just going to base coat them with Bugman's Glow. Once that's dried, we're going to wash it with Drucci Violet, just to make it look all decayed and yucky and horrible. So what we're doing now is just base coating all these pipes that are on the model with Mephiston Red. Once that's all base coated, they do get washed and then reapplied with Evil Sun Scarlet just to give it a little highlight. So once that's done and we've washed the model, the parts that we've just done there with some more Agrax Earthshade just to get them a more dirty basically. We're just now going to focus on the cloth elements of the model. So going back over with Screamer Pink and just leaving obviously the recesses with that Agrax Earthshade and Screamer Pink just to give it a nice dirty look. Again, I'm just using a large monster brush just because it's easier just to paint them large sections of cloth. And what I'm doing is I'm working from the bottom and just pulling it up just so the paint blends going upwards. Created the Screamer Pink. We're just going to do a little dry brush of Pink Horror just on the bottom of the robes there just to give it a little highlight. So even more dry brushing now, but this time with Rise of Rust. And what we've done is just got a scraggly old dry brush because this paint will wreck your brushes. We're just scrubbing this along all the silver parts, basically just to give it a rusted appearance. And I can't stress enough, you can go overboard with this because it is a very bright orange colour. So please, please, please scrub as much as you can off your brush before you put it on, else you're just going to have orange blobs everywhere, basically. But yeah, less is more. I can't stress that enough, you know, less is more. But yeah, so we're just putting this all over the metal parts, basically. You can do it on the armour if you want to, if that's a look you're going for, but for me, it just looks better on the metal parts. So once that's all done, slap a base on it, and the model is finished. So let's go and take a look at the model all done. So yeah, what I've done there, obviously whacked a base on it, and I honestly think it's come out really, really well. I think obviously being grimy and stuff lends itself to deathguard anyway, but yeah, that typhus corrosion just on the or the rise of rust, sorry, just on the metal parts, just to add a bit of rust effect. Really, really nice, and especially on the his massive sword there. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.